No, I don't think I've ever racially been in the minority, no.
It's like I'd pass like an African American person on campus and I'd feel really uncomfortable. Should I look that person in the eye? Should I smile? Should I say hi? Or should I just, keep my eyes on the ground and keep walking?
I mean, I was born in America, and English is my first language, and I consider myself to be as American as anybody else, although I may not look it, I am.
My roommate grew up in a small town, I'd say maybe 600 people, and he had never seen a black person in his life, except for on TV.
People are afraid to just say what's on their mind, lay it out on the table, because, well, it's not PC, you can't say that.
I did expect to see a lot of different races here, but I think I ended up finding a lot more. I mean, when they said, I assumed there would be more black people here, more Asian people and everything, but not as many as there are, because it seemed like in high school there was only 2, and that was more than grammar school, which was only 1. And then I came here and there was, thousands.
Walking through campus, you realize that there's only like maybe, there's not a lot of minorities on campus. You can feel eyes on you. In classes, like, I might be like maybe 1 out of maybe 35 students, maybe 2 out of 75. I was lucky, I went to a very integrated high school. There were more white students than black students, of course, but there was a whole lot of races. I had a lot of white friends. I knew everybody, basically. I knew a lot of people. When I got here, reality was different from my expectations, but I thought it was going to be the same. So it wasn't that way, though.
My neighborhood is all white. That's something that I never really thought about until I got here, and I realized that, I never had to live, now there's people living next door to me who are from different cultures, and I always lived in a white neighborhood, and I never really experienced how other people lived.
There are a lot of different groups on campus. However, the groups tend to mingle with just themselves, and they tend to group together.
So you have your business student council, but then you have your Hispanic business student council. Why? It seems like it's okay to segregate yourself if you're a minority, okay? But if you're not a minority, then that's, it's looked on as bad bull. If you go eat in the commons, the black students down there, the majority of them will sit at one table together, and that's it. They won't interdisperse. They won't, go out and mingle.
Well, all the white students sit together. You just, when you're in smaller numbers and it's that obvious, yes, we all sit together. And sometimes we sit together because you need to get back to someone who knows what it's like to be here. And I can have lunch, every day of the week with all my white friends, but they still don't understand what it's like to be a black student on this campus.
Why should I be the one to conform to who you are? You come over to my group and be with us and see what we're doing.
I feel a lot of times being in Berkeley that I'm walking on eggshells because ethnicity is such a big topic on campus. In classes, it's hard to discuss things. I don't feel like it's a free area to ask the questions that I want to ask, because it may come out racist or be perceived racist, misunderstood, or perhaps I am, but I'm in there to change, and I don't feel that it's an educational setting that permits questioning and learning.
A white person taking an ethnic studies course knows how I felt growing up, a little bit, but the thing about that is, I think a lot of them try to use it as like a victimization thing. Look at me, I'm white, I'm a victim to you guys now. And no, you're not a victim, because you could leave this classroom. You could leave this classroom and you have thousands of people who love you, I could have a community in this classroom, and once I leave this classroom, you know, people are not going to agree with me. It's just in this classroom, people agree with me because we have similar experiences and stuff.
I'm trying to understand why African American students don't feel like, won't get involved in some of our organizations and don't feel a part of A&M. And so I felt like, okay, maybe I need to put myself in a situation like this, and it'll make me understand a lot more. And I wanted to have more contact with the African American students on our campus and understand the issues that they're facing. And so I joined Black Awareness Committee, one for the social thing, because right now my group of friends isn't very diverse. And I felt like maybe I would take the first step, and maybe they'll take a step and join some of our organizations. I think there have been times when I've gone into a meeting and sat by a student that really didn't feel comfortable sitting by me and really didn't want to sit by me. And that was difficult for me. I was like, how can you not, how can you not want to sit by me? But there are some students in there that I think believe I'm the enemy, just because of the color of my skin.
I've been sitting there with the guys outside, and it's just, we're sitting around at night and gotten into a little name-calling event to see who can think up the most, who knows the most slang terms for black people. We'll sit there and, we'll use the word nigger. Nobody openly admits it. I can't believe I'm admitting it right now. But you asked for the truth, so.
All right, say they had like Italian night or something in the fraternity, and they all dressed up, they stuffed their bellies so they looked big, and the women, they were all fat, and they all had, mustaches or something, and they had their hair pulled back in a net, and they were all eating pizza. I would laugh, and I think a lot of Italians would. And especially the fraternity would never get sanctioned for doing an Italian night. But it's just because, they're black, and it's such a sensitive issue that, nobody can say the word black without people turning their heads and wondering what you're going to say next.
I remember they had the thing with the Braves, and I remember the hatchet and all that stuff. And everyone thought that the Native Americans were being hypersensitive. It's upsetting to me to think like that. And who the hell are you to say that people are being ultra-sensitive and stuff like that? Until you walk in their shoes, how are you going to say that? Because it upsets them. And who the hell are you to say that, no, that's not upsetting? It's wrong, so don't do it. Who cares?
I don't know. It is difficult because then you see all the affirmative action, and it's like, well, in a sense, they do get jobs, and they do get educations because they're black. I know people that didn't get scholarships that have called and, inquired why they haven't gotten a scholarship, and they've said it was given to a black student because they were black.
Everyone says like, well, you just walked into here. I'm like, no, I worked hard in high school. I did my student activities, and I did very well on my SAT, thank you very much. I deserve to be here. I worked just as hard as anybody else, and sometimes I think harder than some of the students who got in here, And nobody realizes how just offensive that is. It's almost as if, well, gee, had I known that in high school that I was just gonna get to walk right on in, I wouldn't have studied physics and taken calculus and, and did my best. I'd have just taken, classes that I knew, hey, I can get into A&M, I can get in anywhere, right? Because it's gonna be easy because I'm a minority. And that's just ridiculous.
I got into UC Berkeley through affirmative action, and I'm not ashamed to say that because nobody else is doing my homework. Nobody else has to work like 5 jobs to pay the rent or to do whatever, to send money back home, to help my sisters out when they needed to. I can't call my mom up and be like, oh, Mom, I'm not going to be able to make rent. Can you please pay it for me? I can't do that. I'm ill-equipped economically, If you look back, my education didn't provide me with any kind of foundation. The extent of my math class in high school is like, pre-calculus. Some students have like calculus and then more advanced calculus, and it's all in the quality of education you get when you're growing up. And if you have the funds to get a good education, then you're sure as hell gonna be more qualified than the next person who doesn't. So I can't I ain't gonna stand to listen to somebody tell me that I'm less qualified because I didn't have the resources as when I was younger to get the type of education that they did.
I'm 19 years old, and I had nothing to do with slavery. I had nothing to do with keeping any blacks down, and neither of my friends, my family for that matter. You know, it did happen a long time ago. I wasn't alive. I have nothing to do with it. Don't blame me, and don't blame my friends or anybody younger than me. Stop the blame, and things will get better, I think.
A lot of people say, well, you don't blame me for what my ancestors did. Well, what are you doing? You know? The black community can say, well, what have you done? You know? Just saying that you're not a racist. You may not be, but what are you doing to change that?